Hi everyone, welcome back to Ilum Sabers. Today's video is of a hilt that you may have been seeing around quite a bit recently. That is the Denis Lukyanov Oggdo Killer Gen 2. So this hilt is actually an Oggdo Killer Gen 1 with the Gen 2 grip add-on attachment. So he sold this part separately for those of us who already had the original hilt. There weren't any changes made to the upper section of the hilt. It remains the same dimensionally, but the bottom he remade to be more in line with the Jedi Survivor game compared to the broken pommel that you see on the Jedi Fallen Order game. So, with that being said, there was one change that I'm aware of that he made to the upper portion. Again, like I said, dimensionally, everything remains the same. However, these two shrouds are on the new version made of steel. So depending on whether or not you like that, you may prefer that version. The steel shrouds are a bit of a different color from the aluminum. They're a bit darker. You could also do some heat staining on them, whereas aluminum you'd have to do some like paint or weathering to mimic the heat staining, but you couldn't actually heat stain the aluminum itself. Personally, I actually prefer the aluminum top because in the game and in the reference, to me anyway, the shrouds look like they're the same color as the body. Now this hilt actually, when the Gen 1 was new, these actually did come with a bit of a brushed finish, and the person that I purchased this from did use some steel wool to bring the darker finish of this more in line with the brighter finish of this, and I do think that that looks a lot better. On the inside there, you can see there is a crystal chamber with a quartz crystal, and I will open that up in a minute. We can take a closer look at it. But you can see there's a brass crystal chamber. That is because this hilt is installed with the Goth 3D Master Chassis. And that chassis is compatible with the new version of the hilt because, again, the upper portion is the same dimensionally. This is the lower portion of the hilt, the damaged grip. I may do another video on this in the future after I have gotten it weathered or weathered it myself. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. This is made of an ABS type plastic, so very strong, durable plastic. It's not like cheap plastic that would break. Doesn't really have much flex to it, but it's not rigid either. The new grip is solid. This is metal. I'm not sure if it is, I think it's probably aluminum, feeling the hilt. I don't think the grip is noticeably heavier than the rest of the hilt, so that makes me think it's probably aluminum. And then of course the pommel is aluminum. And then you have a hole down here, and I believe in addition to what looks like maybe some hidden sound venting, you have looks like a screw that you can use to sort of orient this D-ring to be in line with the upper portion of the hilt to be accurate. So I will go ahead and switch to the desk camera, do a bit of a close-up on the hilt, and kind of show you how it comes apart, and then we can kind of get into that. All right, so we've got the desk cam set up. You can kind of see everything that's going on here. This is the main body of the hilt with the original grip over here, the new grip here, and the pommel, and then this little ring, which I will explain as we get further into this. So the hilt comes apart here. This ring unscrews. I go ahead and do that. And as it unscrews, the top part will slip out from the grip, revealing the chassis. I will put the grip over there. And you'll notice this greebly here is a button. That is the only button on the hilt. This is a single button setup. Some other makers, like 89 Sabers, have a small, tiny little button here. It's not actually an accurate part of the hilt. It's just an added button that they've put in so that they can have a 2-button setup. But Denis generally likes to keep things screen accurate, so this is a 1-button setup. And then the chassis just pulls out. It does lock into place. You know, you push it in and it kind of snaps in, so you have to be kind of careful when you take it out. I will set the upper portion of the hilt over here for now. So yeah, you can see the chassis here. This is really, really beautifully done. I did not install this one personally. I do install a lot of my hilts, but this is one that I actually came to me already installed. I did, however, add a battery with a battery cover. See if I can kind of show that here. So you can kind of see there's some kind of venting and some arabesh here, just to kind of make it look more in universe, and the color here, of course, matches pretty well with the color of the brass. The brass is at this point kind of aged and weathered naturally, because this was installed several years ago, I believe, when the hilt was new. And the Oggdo Gen 1 came out several years ago, if you remember, or if you are familiar. So the brass has naturally oxidized, and it has a really great look to it. On a lot of hilts, I wouldn't prefer that look. Like, for example, on a prequel hilt, I would not prefer that. But on an original trilogy hilt, where things have kind of more of an aged look, and especially on the Fallen Order hilt, which is kind of grimy and dirty and weathered anyway, I actually think this is preferable. If you were doing a master chassis and you didn't want that, just keep in mind you can get the material plated. So you could do like gold plated or silver plated or rose gold plated brass. And that way, whatever color you end up with is going to be shiny. So if you wanted something like this, but you wanted it shiny, I would go with a gold plated, and you can do that. I know Shapeways used to do that, but Shapeways is no longer in business. So I think you can still do that on Cloudcraft as well. You'll just want to check with your chassis provider. But for this particular one, I actually think that the aged look of the brass is preferable. We'll go up here a little bit. You can see here's the button here. Here are the contacts for the inside of the hilt where this connects to the pixel connector. And then here is the chamber. Now, I actually am not sure. I originally said this was a quartz crystal, but I actually think that it's some kind of resin, actually. Looking at it, it's got a bit of a sparkle, a shimmer to it, that makes me think that it might be printed in some kind of resin or cast in some kind of resin. It looks really good. I mean, from, you know, maybe 6-8 inches from your face, you can't really tell. It looks quartz, but if I get up really close, I can kind of see that it looks a little different. These do move. They're magnetic, so they'll slide up and down and lock into place with little magnets that are part of the chassis. So go ahead and slide this one down as well. And you can see then the crystal a little clearer. Of course, you'll notice that the hilt itself has some windows. So you can actually kind of see all the way through. So whatever you've got sticking up in here will show through. So that is why the crystal is right here. So that was designed with that in mind, so the crystal would shine through. And I actually, instead of having the bare crystal shine through, I actually prefer to have the cage on these up. That way you actually get kind of a more interior kind of mechanical look inside of there. These plates here hide the speaker. So if you haven't guessed, or if you're not familiar, the speaker of the Oggdo killer is actually down inside there. So that's another reason why those vents on the hilt are open. You can see the crystal, but that's also where the sound comes out. So earlier I said that there might have been some hidden sound venting here. I misspoke at that point. I kind of forgot that this is a very unique hilt in that the sound does not come out through the bottom. It actually comes out through like the midsection or kind of the upper section. So there's actually no venting here at all because there's just no need for sound to come out. And that's why I thought it was hidden because you can't see it because it's not there. So yeah, the speaker is here. These vents are part of what allow you to install the speaker, and then you just kind of close these in on top of it. So they're glued in place. And then this here is what covers the Proffieboard. The Proffieboard's up here, and then you've got a kill switch down here. You can kind of see into there. Maybe I'll adjust the light and that'll help a little bit. There you go. Yeah. So kill switch is down in there. And then this plate is held on with magnets. So you can go ahead and just kind of pop it up and it'll come right up. And the Proffieboard is here. Now this Proffieboard has been installed with some accent LEDs on top of it, and then a little bit of electrical tape just to kind of make sure everything is protected from shorting out, just in case something were to touch the brass cover. So everything's kind of insulated that way. You've got the SD card there. You can actually see the battery through here. And then again, here's the kill switch. So again, this was installed by someone else. I believe it may have been Matt Furr, or maybe Furr. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So credit to him for that install. But yeah, I can't take credit for this particular one. This is a beautiful master chassis though. Really, really well designed, and things really cram in there. Now this PCB on the bottom actually connects to another PCB inside of the Fallen Order grip. And that is because there are holes on the bottom of here. So you'll have some light shining out to kind of add to that sort of broken effect of the Fallen Order hilt, right? Things are sparking and kind of broken. So that's kind of how you achieve that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the chassis to cover. I don't think so. Just something to note, there are some little red wires here on both sides on this little guy. I don't believe it came that way. You had to assemble that yourself. I mean, the whole hilt came as a kit, right? It's a DIY install kit. So all those things you had to do yourself. When you place the chassis back inside of here, you'll want to make sure you're doing it the right way. So check the orientation of the button, face up, and then the button on here, face up. And then you'll see that there's a notch here. That's for this notch on the crystal chamber. So see, it won't go in this way, but then if you line it up with the notch, it'll go right in. And those notches are also lined up with the little control box greeblies. So kind of wiggle that into place. And then that was it kind of clicking into place. So now it's sturdily in there. If you turn it like this, the chassis won't come out. So that is the install. There are little here and, oh, no, just the one. So right here, there is a set screw. One set screw is probably better than one on each side though, because one on each side, you'd end up with kind of a lever effect. So it'd kind of push on both sides and it would kind of, the blade would teeter-totter back and forth. So that's definitely better. This is the new grip, so this is all one big metal piece. And then put your finger in here. You can kind of unscrew this inner sleeve. Take this part out, and I believe this was dremeled to kind of give that damaged look that the Fallen Order saber has. Set that to the side for now. So this is all that comes in the kit. So a pommel and the grip itself. Let's see, this little piece here that screws in, if you unscrew that, it actually came off with the wrong piece. So, okay, so this is everything that comes with the kit. This little ring, the grip section, and the actual pommel. And there is a little like rubber ring on each side to kind of help hold everything in place. I kind of like that when you've got everything tightened down. The rubber ring kind of makes things held with tension there a little bit. The original didn't have that, and I have heard of some fitment issues with that. Although generally speaking, this piece is what's supposed to hold it in. So this ring I mentioned we'd talk about in a moment because I have two of them. One of them is from the original grip, and one of them is from the new grip. So the taller one is from the original, and then the shorter one is from the new grip. So if you're going to go back and forth, you will need to swap out which thread section you're using. So the short part of the threads, I'll kind of show both of them here. I'll have them facing each other. So on the part closest to my the end of my finger, on both of them, is the short part of the threads. Those are identical. On the part on the outside, past the little ring, is the rest of the thread. So this one's much longer, and this one is still longer than the inside of the threaded section, but it's, even though it's longer than that, it's still much shorter than this one. So this is the Survivor one, and this is the Fallen Order one, and they're different because of how the hilts go together. The Fallen Order hilt, if we take a little look here, this piece is metal. This is the ABS. This slides out like that, and you can see where that threaded section goes in. And if you go take a look inside of here, you'll see that there is a change in the the inner inside dimension. So there's a little ring in there. This goes up to here and stops because of that lip. And then the other section goes in this far and stops because of that lip. And then that longer threaded section actually reaches past the lip and into the threaded section of this one. And the reason for that is that lip is what is supposed to hold them together with tension. So I'll go ahead and assemble that. So take our Fallen Order piece and our Fallen Order longer thread. And make sure we've got it properly threaded on there like that. And then I normally just put 2 fingers inside like this. Put it until it stops, and then just start threading away. Once that's on, you'll have your Fallen Order grip, and you'll notice this ring rotates here. And that is just so that you can adjust it once it's on the hilt to make sure that the orientation is accurate. Okay, so now we've got it on here like this, and you just screw it on like this. And now the Fallen Order section is assembled. Got it on like that, so now you're ready to go for Fallen Order. Again, I would like to get this weathered at some point. I think that that would really elevate the look of the hilt. I'm going to go ahead and undo this for now, just because we're not really putting a blade in or anything at the moment. So I'm going to pull this out so we can look at the master chassis again. But that's how you switch between the two. And again, to switch back, you need to put the smaller ring on the survivor section. And then just to do kind of a brief demo. Okay, so we've got the running LED sequence above the Proffieboard, and then inside of here we've got kind of a cyan blue crystal, and it's blinking in sort of a broken sequence. So the idea is for Fallen Order that the saber is like only partially functioning. You know, it's kind of like, it's kind of sporadic, and you know, while the blade works, the internals are, you know, not up to snuff, or they're not doing the greatest because it's been sliced in half. With the press of the button, we do get the primary sound, and you'll see that the crystal does change the way that it's blinking. So it's now more solid. And I've got this installed with a bunch of different fonts. So this is more of a darker blue. And I've made kind of a custom sort of sound, so it will play the Fallen Order crystal boot sound along with the name of the color that the blade and crystal are.
Green. Purple.
So all these are gonna kind of be the same.
Yellow.
And then if we go the other way, so we'll hold the hilt upside down so that we can cycle through backwards.
Purple. Green. Blue.
I'm Cal Kestis. Seer's dead because of you.
We start to get into the reverse side, which is the Jedi Survivor fonts. So now the crystal works as it should, right? It's got more of like a regular pulsing motion to it.
Didn't I tell you to be more careful about who you scan?
White. Yellow.
So now we're listening to the Jedi Survivor crystal boot up sound along with the color.
Purple. Green.
Do one more.
Blue.
So here's blue for, or wait, hold on.
Green.
Let's see.
Blue.
Everything I'm doing feels pointless.
Here we go. Here's the main one for Jedi Survivor.
Your name was Asana Tide. It's time to set you free.
So very similar hum as the original. I'm going to go ahead and flip the kill switch. So yeah, that is pretty much the Oggdo Killer Gen 1/Gen 2, along with the fonts that are installed on my specific Oggdo. I'm really just impressed with the master chassis here. Again, you can see the crystal through here with the little cage around it. So really, really fantastic work by Denis. Fantastic work by Goth 3D for the chassis design. I'm really just very pleased with how it all turned out. So the one thing to note is that the Oggdo Gen 2 is compatible with this same chassis. I know that recently Shapeways has undergone some issues. I believe Shapeways has closed, so you may have to reach out to other providers to get the chassis, but it is the same dimensions, and the internals of the new hilt will accept this same chassis. So if you really are kind of enjoying the master chassis look on this, you will like the fact that the Oggdo Gen 2 lets you use the same chassis. Again, everything that comes in the upgrade kit that I got is going to be right here. So the grip and pommel section, along with the ring to swap out with that inner metal sleeve. And then the rest of it, you need to already have if that's the part you were ordering. I don't believe that's actually available anymore. I don't think the upgrade for the Oggdo Gen 1 is available, or I guess I shouldn't say upgrade, but the accessory part. However, if you did want to buy the Oggdo Gen 2 hilt with just the upper section and the new lower section, and not with the Fallen Order section, then you can still buy that from Saber Bay, I believe. So just a note to remember, like I said, the Fallen Order section is not available at this time. There is talk that it might be in the future, but we just don't know. But the Gen 2 is, to my knowledge, still available, and there are chassis for it. This one included, as well as a new chassis that's being put out there as well. So just check all of that stuff out if you are interested. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to the front-facing cam and do the outro. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I really enjoyed doing a little review and overview of the Oggdo Killer, again, by Denis Lukyanov. If you're interested, I know that these are still for sale. I think a few of them are still for sale over at Saber Bay. I believe that's the only place that they're being offered right now. And when I say that they are offered, I do mean the Gen 2. So you're not going to be able to get the Gen 1 with the aluminum shrouds and the Fallen Order grip. However, there has been talk that if there's enough interest, Denis might do a rerun of the Fallen Order grip separately for those people who purchased the Gen 2 but weren't able to purchase the Gen 1 and don't have the Fallen Order grip. So if you are interested in that, keep an eye out because he may be doing that, and if he is, you will want to jump on that when you see that, because he will probably only do a limited run. So have a list of people, you know, that might be interested, people sign up, and then those are all that get made. So keep an eye out for that. And until next time, I will see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you.